Hey guys, this is Fusebox back on Raid Shadow Legends, and we're gonna take on the Hydra. We're gonna get into so a lot of people are getting excited about getting into Hydra, right? And a lot of people, even my clan, we're stuck on hard. But a lot of people are still trying to move into hard. And that's what we're gonna focus on. It's probably the number one question, the number one request I get is, can you help me build a Hydra team? Like 10 a day, and it's too much for any one person to do. So what I want to do is help you build a team with the heroes that you have. You need to know the stats. What kind of stats does it take? What kind of same thing with gear. What kind of heroes? Because it's usually a one hero mistake that's making it fall apart. And I noticed, and don't worry about like big hits. I will show you my gear on some of my big hits, but I'm actually gonna look at a couple of accounts. We're just gonna try to push a 10 depending on gear or a 20 million hit on hard, so you can 2 or 1 key hard. That's what we're gonna be looking for. And once you got that figured out, normal's a breeze, right? You could easily do like a 5-minute run and get your 1 key on normal. But it's going to be intensive, right? It's going to take a lot of time. This will probably go long, but let's jump into it. First, what kind of stats do you really need to be looking for? We're talking about hard. Remember, we're talking about hard. So real quick, do me a favor. If you haven't seen why Royal Guard and Husk could be a huge mistake in holding you back on normal and hard, then look in my description and watch that video. It's a lot to explain, but simply put, on these lower stages, the max HP damage, if you're trying to emulate those teams you see doing Brutal and Nightmare, these ginormous hits, it's not going to be the same if you're stuck on hard or normal. So check that out. Just do yourself a favor so at least you understand what you're working with, because also the gear requirements are so much simpler. You're probably building them wrong if you're copying those big teams. And real quick, that's why I'm not going to be using them unless maybe a Husk with the Provoke is the only option I have on a team. This is what we want to start with: stats. What stats do you need? This can be found on hellhades.com. This is for hard, okay? Basically, if you look at the Head of Mischief, you get 90% of the information you need. He is the fastest head, 220. Who needs to go faster than 220? Any support champion, I suggest, needs to go faster than the Head of Mischief, and especially if you're bringing block buffs. You're going to hear a lot about that. You don't have to have it, but it's going to bring a lot of success. Even if it's not a guaranteed, you're going to want it. So that hero, who, if you're bringing Ugo, who debuffs and puts up block buffs, she's going to want to be faster than 220, hands down. She's going to want to get that move off. And then I also suggest any support champions that are helping to keep you alive are rolling as fast or faster than the Head of Mischief. Damage dealer is not such a big deal. There are a lot of slower speeds. They just can't, if as long as they're running in the mix and getting their turn, they'll get the job done. Now, you also want to know about what kind of resistance do you need. Dealing with the Head of Mischief, you can keep block buffs up pretty consistently and not worry about resistance. I do it all the time. If you do have to resist him, if that's your only option, you're out of block buffs and you're bringing an ultimate death knight to always resist for the entire team, or just a stunned a resist target, right? Like Chris puts up extra continuous heals on himself and makes a great stun target. Well, this guy has 310 accuracy. He's also the highest on accuracy. When it comes to resistance, they suggest here to get 415, but let's real quick look at that. RSO Helper under the Tools tab. So the Head of Mischief's rocking 310 accuracy. If you have that 415, they suggest that is a decent place to get to. He has a 10% chance of stealing your buffs, stealing your turn meter. So 1 out of 10 times is still going to happen, right? But that's a good kind of go-to number, I would say. I like that they picked that. Like on Brutal, they suggest 450. I actually shoot for that, because even on hard, there's still a 5.5% chance he's going to steal my buffs or debuffs. And that's good enough, right? 400 to 450 is good enough for hard. And you're going to want it. You're going to want it if people are getting targeted, because the Head of Mischief getting that turn meter is bad enough, let alone if he's stealing, like maybe you're bringing a Helicath and he's taking your block damage. That's a nightmare, because he'll spread it to the rest of the team. So that's basically the only stats you need to know. Accuracy is such a non-issue. Look at their resistance. Even with the Head of Suffering up, he gives them an extra 50. Accuracy is pretty much on hard gonna fit in with anybody you have. Honestly, if you're here, you got enough accuracy, so we're not really gonna go over that. One other thing you do want to make note of is the speed of the Head of Decay. Head of Decay is going to ruin your damage output at the very least if you can't keep your debuffs up. You're going to need to provoke him as much as possible, if not all the time. We'll talk about lots of ways to do that. He's 200 speed, so if you're bringing a provoker, they need to be over 200 speed, and sometimes you can do that with just having a good speed aura in the lead or a turn meter booster, but he will want to take that first turn so you can set that fight up. And then now let's talk about, okay, so that's really all you need to know. And now how do you counter these heads? Individually, the Head of Decay needs to be provoked and as much as possible. That's really all there is to the Head of Decay. Keep him provoked, he's basically a non-issue. Head of Blight puts up Poison Cloud. You can block this with block buffs, which means you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone if you got a good block buffs champion. That's the most popular way, but bringing an HP burn means that if HP burns up and Poison Cloud goes out, it's like it's not there. So it does negate Poison Cloud. And then some heroes like Mordecai can place it even when Poison Cloud is up. Drexstar can do this too. And it at least gives you a target that you're not weak hitting all the time. Other than that, that's it. You got to block buffs when he's putting up Poison Cloud, or you've got to have an HP burn up so that you can ignore it. Head of Suffering is just a turret that won't flush, right? That's it. There's nothing to worry about. He puts up that nasty life barrier, but there's nothing you can really do. He just takes forever to kill, and he's kind of a non-issue. The Head of Mischief is the most annoying one. As we said, you make a resist target. There's 1,000 ways. We can't talk about them all. But you can make a slow hero with extra buffs and lots of resist to draw that hit. He's going to go after whoever has the most buffs up, and that's who he's going to try to steal buffs from. Make that target have 400 to 450 resistance for hard. Ultimate Death Knight does it for your whole team. He's like a free pass. Whoever gets hit, it gets transferred to him, give him 450 resistance, and it's over. And then block buffs. Block buffs works just fine. And he's going to need to be dealt with, or your run is just not going to go very well. You can also hex him because you can't target him and get a guaranteed hit on him. If hex is on him, you can. And Mithrala might be the best answer for a lot of people there. These two right here, the problem is they do a lot of damage, okay? The Head of Wrath, that is his only problem. He does a lot of damage. He can throw out a provoke, but what really sucks is the damage he does. And at 15 hits, when you hit him 15 times with separate hits, he gets an extra move. Basically, you've got to have somebody on your team who can throw up a shield, keep a strengthen up, some way to protect you when that hit comes in. And then slowly heal back up, get ready for the next hit. And then timing becomes crucial. But other than that, he's really easy to kill. And you just have to be able to mitigate damage in some way. Head of Torment, he actually hits pretty hard too. You're going to want to mitigate damage there, but the real problem here is anytime you touch him, you get a fear and you can't resist it, you can't block it. It's going to happen. If you have Veil on when you attack him, you do not get a fear. If you have Shamel on your team, that's why he's so popular, it's just a non-issue. The fear never hits, and it even boosts the turn meter of whoever's in the lead of your team, giving them extra turns. So that's the most fun way to deal with them, clearly. Other than that, you can handle them without these things. You just need to be ready to cleanse or just deal with the fact that your DPS is going to slow down and you're going to miss some turns due to fears, all right? And it can mess up your run. It definitely will give you a headache, but it can be dealt with without it. So we know how to handle each of the heads. Now, once you're moving to hard and you're trying to get 20 million, you can bet you're going to have to kill heads. This means that you have to be ready to face all of these heads. In some way, you need to be prepared to face every one of these heads. You're not going to get a 1 key without killing heads because, look, this is the starting lineup for the current rotation. Where is their HP? We've got just over 1 million, almost 3 million, so about 4 million, 5, 6, 7, 7.5 million. If you kill all these heads, you're only at 7.5 million damage. So you will be killing heads, and that means you're probably going to see the Head of Torment. You're probably going to see the Head of Wrath. You're going to see these heads coming in and out. So when you go into a fight, let's just look at this team. What are we bringing, right? We've got block buffs. Well, you know what? Let me pull up their actual gear and speeds. Okay, so this team taking on the Head, that was actually a bad hit, but don't stress about the 100 million hits and all that. You're just wanting 20 million or even 10 million possibly. So Ugo is keeping up block buffs. She's 240 speed. I want to be faster than 220, as we said, right? And then I've got some important champions. Now this Cantress special, she helps keep a provoke up passively the entire fight. And because of that, I need her taking turns faster than all of the heads. So she's over 220. Mithrala is a support champion as well as giving me Hex. Hex also helps spread damage, and that's why I bring her. But she's obviously built for arena really, but she's going to be moving way faster than any of the heads. And then another support champion that needs to keep me alive, and he has a guaranteed provoke. So he has to land the first provoke, and the rest I'm hoping Cantrip will handle. So he also needs to be faster than all the heads. It kind of is a big setup for me. And then I have two damage dealers, and they're both relatively slow, right? 200 speed. Why am I bringing Shamil while there's not the head of Torment up? Just like I was saying, the head of Torment will pop up. And when he pops up, I want an answer for those fears, because all of these heroes need to get their abilities off every turn to keep up block buffs, to keep up Hex, to keep up ally protection. They really need to be taking their turns. So he is here just to do some damage. And then when the head pops up, he's there. And then I have one real damage dealer. And look, she's a slow arena nuker, right? 167 speed, and she did the job just fine. So that's the whole idea. We're dealing with every head. Right here, we've got the head of Blight taken care of, the head of Mischief taken care of. We've got the head of Torment taken care of. These two are making sure we've got the head of Wrath taken care of. We've got the big turd that won't flush. He's just there, the head of Suffering. We're just dealing with him. The rest are kind of a non-issue, right? Poison Cloud's taken care of from here. And then we have two damage dealers, and always bring two people that can do some damage, because they have to get each other out. When somebody gets swallowed by a head, you've got to get them out. So make sure that you have, like Cantrip, I've got some actual crit damage put on her, and it's not because she needs it. It's because I need her doing damage with some of these other heroes to get people out. Like when Trunda swallowed, she's the one getting people out most of the time. And now we want to talk about, and the same thing here. This is actually something that does about 100 million on hard as well. And I just went ahead and used it on normal and then let it die. But it's the same issues. Matter of fact, let me pull up the actual stat. So this team right here is doing a different type of job. We're about to talk about manual versus auto, by the way. So this team is dealing with the head of Wrath and the damage dealers by having Revive on Death on two heroes. I've got it here on Mother Sabelle and then on Cardiel, right? Other than that, I just have passive heals from Cardiel, so it's a little riskier team. It doesn't have all the support the other ones do. Provokes are constant, so we don't have to worry about the head of Decay at all. We've got the best in the game for keeping up block buffs, so we don't have to worry about the head of Blight. We don't have to worry about the head of Mischief. We've got burst damage here with ally attack. We've got solid damage with Ninja, HP burns in case a Poison Cloud slips by once in a while. And of course, protection from strengthen, and the speed. Keeping speed down and speed up is huge. It really cycles you through. And as you can see, setting up with provokes. So with this provoke, the speed buff is what makes sure I get my provoke out first. Lydia's really fast. She puts up the speed buff. And then we get around to getting my provoke out on the first turn with Seeker, because we have to. He's over 200 anyway, so it works out good. And then these are built for damage. So is this. There's plenty of single damage hidden throughout this, and basically Seeker is boosting turn meter and hitting the head of Decay every single turn. He's amazing at keeping provoke out. He gets 2 hits, 50% shot each hit. He's really, really solid for buffing your team, speeding up your team, and keeping that provoke out. But this team is never going to do well if it's not manual, and most teams won't. That is the sad truth. This team has to put up Revive on Death at the right times. I don't use it. I don't waste damage turns until I see that I'm in trouble. I put up Revive on Death and then try to get back into the rhythm, do it again with the next one when I need to, and keep going back into the fight, right? So this team, and provoking constantly with his A1, this is a team that you really want to manual. And I'm going to be honest. If you're looking for a magic bullet, you're not going to find it. You'll have to have a very, this team actually does fine on auto. You're going to have a really good setup of heroes to get a good auto team going. If you've got Duchess and Krisk, two of the best at mitigating damage and reviving your team, they make an auto run much easier. So let's get into actually building some teams. All right, the first thing that I'm looking for is a way to provoke this head. I'm telling you, keeping that provoke up is huge. So we're not looking at we're not going to build a 50, 100 million team, we want to build a one key team, right? Or something that can get you close to a one key so that a couple of hits work. Once you can build multiple teams like this, you're going to do fine. And then we need to check their gear and see, do we need to change some things? And we'll come in and we'll try this fight. So I'm going to tell you right now, a free champion we just got recently is great for provokes, Bavald the Thorn. He has a guaranteed provoke. Then he has an A1 that has a shot of provoking, and it doesn't care if it's a weak hit. So he's always got a chance to keep a provoke up. He also has some passive or some heals on an ability. He has a shield in case of the head of torment. He's really, really solid for all of this. So we're going to bring somebody like him. Another champion we just got that actually does a lot here is Mighty Ugo. So this 20% speed aura is going to help us get to our speed thresholds and keep us cycling. He can actually block buffs. It's not as consistent, but it's great to be able to do it. He can full team revive. He can put speed on our team. So he's speeding us up quite a bit. He's blocking buffs at least most of the time for us, hopefully. He's going to revive us when we die. He has an attack down on his A1. These two heroes right here are pretty much taking care of most of this, to be honest, right? We've got a lot going on. So now we're going to, one thing I'm looking at speed up. I like to bring a speed down, not 100% necessary, but speaking of speed down, we've got another person who can provoke, making it much safer to take care of this. She does decent damage. I'm not in a damage build, but she puts speed down as well. This is going to be absolutely solid on a team like this. We're definitely going to take it. Now we're looking at it's nice to bring at least decreased defense. If you saw those stats that I had up, there's a lot of defense on these champions. Another champion that a lot of people got for a guaranteed champion. I think I just put he's up here. So Ragash. Ragash is absolutely amazing. This guy, he places decreased defense, so he can't miss, right? It's before his hit. Then he actually hits pretty hard. Mine is not built out like straight up for damage, but he has damage built into his kit, right? I want him to do damage. And we're going to look at their speeds in a minute and see if there's anything we need to adjust, but the speed aura is going to help quite a bit. So I'm looking at the fact that we're not going to have block. There's no books on my Mighty Uko, making the revive, kind of long. We're not going to be consistent with the block buffs, so an HP burn sounds great. Let's bring Drang, another champion we just got for free, and this dude is amazing. We've got a heal that's going to be clutch at times, and it drops his cooldown so that he can get back to his HP burn. He can even explode HP burns for burst damage every now and then with his A1. This is going to help. We've got support and support and support and a strengthen buff support built into a lot of these champions with damage output through HP burns. And all three of these are built for mild damage, but damage that does count, right? So what are we lacking? The only thing we're missing is dealing with, I think we're set up to deal with the head of torment. I would like a bigger shield than Bavald's. Or we need to focus on dealing with this fear, because right now we really don't have a veil. So we could do a lot of things. We could bring a veil, right? We've got Tartura, we've got Rector Drath. Both would be pretty solid here, and we're not going to be consistent on dealing with the head of mischief, but we're going to just deal with it, right? We're just going to see how well we can do. I really think that I'm going to be more interested in dealing with the head of Wrath. I don't think we've got everything we need here. So let's take another free champion we got, Brogni, if you were playing long enough. Or High Shield. High Shield's great here too. He even has a provoke too. We got so many provokes right now. We are going to take Brogni. And we're just going to keep up shields that heal when they hit us, right? So we've got all the support we need now. We've got speed up in two different places, speed down in one place. We've got provokes that can come out constantly if we have any luck at all, but they'll be consistent at the very least. We've got an HP burn for when block buffs is not up. We're bringing block buffs, and we can revive this entire team. Truthfully, I can't stress enough how important it is to manual this to get more output, right? To save abilities and use them at the right time. But we'll try to set this up and let it auto just to see what we can get done. So we've got a speed aura. We got block buffs up, at least for the beginning of this. We got HP burnout in case anything goes wrong. We're going to slow them down and go to our first guaranteed provoke. We get to debuff them so that we're starting out right. There's our provoke. And now we're just going to, I want to set my speed up too, because we have two people who put up speed. I don't have books on Ugo, so maybe we can get them juggling if we do this right. So we're going to go ahead and put decrease attack out, increase our shields for the first round, try to get back to using our HP burn. We can use this guaranteed provoke now, and then speed up here. And I think if we hit auto, this is going to do okay, right? So things can go wrong. Worst case scenario, the head gets swallowed by either the head of suffering, who's hard to kill, or somebody gets swallowed by the head of mischief, who we cannot target. Then the worst case scenario is he gets a life barrier shield on top of him, and it can make things really go south. So the RNG with normal teams, without those really amazing teams that could just take on anything, the RNG does mean you want to be prepared to back out and start again, especially if something goes wrong. And what's the one head we didn't plan for? The head of torment. If it shows up, we're not ready for those fears. We're going to have to just fight through them, and it's going to slow us down quite a bit. In this team, we just did not bring anything for the fears. I opted to go sturdier to deal with the head of wrath in case it pops up, because it will end our run if we are not strong enough. With strength in and all these shields, I think we'll be fine now. But if that happens, I'm probably going to take it off of auto, because I want to put up my shields at the right time. We'll let this auto. We'll just see how it goes. It's an imperfect team, but it's a good team, right? So if we can get to 10 million, you're half of your 20 million that you need. This is a great step in the right direction. If you manual this, I am sure this can one key. I'm sure this can one key if you actually did it right, manualed it, took your time. So I'm going to cut in when anything of interest happens. Okay, we're about to kill our first head. Damage might start going up, but we're also about to lose Ragash. So let's just see how this goes. And look who ate him. Look who ate Ragash. So we're going to target over here. Even though we can't guarantee we hit that head, we want to put most of our damage in his direction to try to get Ragash back out on our team. The HP burn should help tremendously. But again, I'm just going to cut back in a minute, see how the team's performing on auto. Again, whatever we get, just you can almost guarantee you could double that. I'm curious what head's going to pop up to. But we're going to get our head back, our hero back, and I'll be right back. All right, Head of Wrath popped out. We're lucky we went with Brogni instead of somebody like Inquisitor Shamel, at least so far, right? Who knows what's going to pop up next? But we did make the right choice. Now here, I would probably carefully choose my moves. We can unclick this, because I do want to have my shields up when that head hits me, and I want to be careful when it gets its extra hit. But we're going to take the risk and let this go. We're just going to let this go on auto. It's definitely risky to do this. But at least we did bring the right types of heroes. We're about to force that 15 counts. He's going to get a free hit. But we have a little bit of a shield, and our health is back up. So it looks like we survived that round. I'll just cut back in because the Head of Wrath is really good at ending a run. Curious to see what head's about to pop up real quick, because the Head of Torment is going to mix with the Head of Wrath. That's going to be pretty bad. It's going to be pretty bad. Hey, there it is. There it is. So this is going to end prematurely. We did not plan for that one head. He's going to slow us way down, and he's going to do it at a moment where we're facing the Head of Wrath. So, let's just let it go, because we're almost at that 10 million. For sure, I do not want to be doing this on auto right now, but we don't have much time. For the sake of it, you can see, I know I could one key on manual with this, but it looks like you could two key on auto, and I don't know how close it'll get to one key, but this is fixing to hurt. We've got to target this guy. We've got to get our head back. And to be honest, we need to kill this head. We can't have both of these up. It's going to be too much. This team did not plan. The one head we ignored, of course, showed up. So I'm going to actually target down the Head of Wrath and see if that works out for us. But we're definitely going to hit that 10 million. That's kind of that magic point. If you're just getting into hard, you can do a 2-hit to get a 2-key, right? For the top chest. And don't stress out. If you can't get that top chest yet, your gear will get better. Your heroes will get better. You'll be able to do it eventually. this is a point where I'm not even going to worry about if this head heals up from this life barrier. Honestly, if it does, it does. I want this head dead. I want the head of wrath gone. I'm dealing with too much here already. I need the head of wrath out of the picture. So let me come back in and see if we have any luck, because I think this is going to end pretty quickly. If we're about to take another hit, we'll just see how it goes. But the shield was probably the best option. Dealing with both of these heads, we looked at dealing with one or the other, and I do think we made the right choice by making sure we can handle the hits from the head of wrath. And why am I working feverishly to kill the head of wrath? The next person being swallowed is Brogni, my best defense against the head of wrath. So I really need it to go. I really need it to go down. We got our last shield, a shield out of Brogni, so it looks like we're gonna kill it, and we're gonna have another head down here shortly. So now things, I can unclick here and let it just play, and we're approaching 12 million on auto. This is on auto, and I cannot tell you the auto and manual, night and day. Anyway, I'll cut back in because this we still have some pretty nasty heads up. We'll see how it goes. So we're back to getting close to that starting rotation again. I'm going to try to let them focus down the head of torment because the fears are slowing us way down. We could be at 1 key already. But for auto, this is really, really solid. Like, really, really solid. And if something were to go wrong at 10 million, you could back out. You could back out, try it again. I mean, it's only been 8 minutes, and these are literally, all of them were available free to play at some point. The only one, Ragash, was actually you pull for. I just pulled him by chance, but definitely not too bad, right? If we can kill that head of torment, it'll cleanse any fears on us, and we go right back to doing exactly what we set out to do in the beginning. Basically, we're looking for 5 more million, and we have a 1 key. And it went right back to like the nastiest possible scenario for this team. Again, both of the worst heads are up. We're about to back out anyway. You can clearly get a 1 key, and if you had any better luck with these heads, it would be smooth sailing at this point. This combo is the weakest link for this team, but we do need to get this back really quick. I think we're about to lose a hero too, so it's starting to go downhill about when you would expect it to. But not bad at all. And we didn't even really check our builds. We got our hero back. We got Vizix back from the HP burn. So we're really, let's kill this head. I'm going to go ahead and see this land real quick. I'd like to see the 1 key. So I'll just cut back in a minute. Man, that Uko and that Ragash, these heroes are putting in some work. I really want to back out of here. But I'm just gonna go make a sandwich. I will be at 20 million in a minute. All right, good enough, right? 20 million is what everybody's looking for. This was full auto. I would click on a head when it swallowed somebody, but this was full auto. Things can go south and things can change, but this looks like it's strong enough to go a little bit more, right? It looks like it's got a little bit more. What are we broke 20 million, right? Yeah. So you got your 1 key right there. This video is going long. I hope this gives you an idea of how you really got to plan for heads, and which if you can't plan for all of them, pick the one you're gonna ignore. Like you'll notice, this starting lineup doesn't need Shamel, but I know I'm going to be killing a lot of heads, and I'm gonna need Shamel to keep me from getting feared. I can't slow. I'm already slow enough on this team, but if you're looking at normal, as far as normal goes, you can honestly forego a lot of your support and just bring damage, and maybe make sure you've got provokes and at least some sort of. You can start this on auto. All you got to do is hit 6 million. That's it. You don't need this team. I'm just real quick taking out Brogni. We're not looking for all that support. We're looking for really quick knockout 6 million damage. It should be totally easy to auto this and get it done. So let me just cut back in, and we should have 5-6 million in just a minute. All right, a minute and a half in, and we've got 2 heads down. We brought damage dealers. They're gonna really quick be able to get this 6 million mark. See, here's where we don't even care about the head of wrath this time. As a matter of fact, we should just be targeting this decapitated head if we really wanted to make sure we just hit that number and get out of here. but it's totally easy. If you're building for hard, normal is you're gonna be able to bring in a lot of B team heroes and do an amazing job here. So clearly, we're gonna hit. We almost got a head decapitated. We can focus him down and get that 6 million in one more round of turns, right? Like if we actually focus him, the damage will ramp up so fast. So easily get your 6 million with a million different variations of teams. Hopefully this helps. If you know the stats you're up against, you've got to be fast enough to put up block debuffs if you're bringing it. If you're not, real quick, let's just show this. All right, so you don't have any way to block buffs or whatever. In this case, we probably just take some HP as a lead. There we go. And so we all got Death Knight. Ultimate Death Knight, he is going to want to be over 400. So I like 450 personally. We looked at that earlier. He's got enough resistance to where anybody that takes a hit, he's going to handle it. And the exact same team. We didn't bring Brogni, but it doesn't matter. We're just trying to show this off. Look, he's going to be resisted every time, no matter who he hits. And we didn't quite bring the team we wanted, but if we can get our provoke off, we're still in good shape. And then we would hit auto and off to the races, right? So everything kind of worked out there. And same exact fight, only this time we're just ignoring this guy, and the HP burns are making us ignore the poison cloud, right? So a lot of ways to handle it. And you can see we've already got 1 million damage out, and we're just going to keep ramping up. So it's totally doable, even when you don't have all the exact champions. I hope this helps somebody. Building a team, especially when you're struggling on normal and then you try to go on hard. If you're struggling on normal, you're not ready for hard, right? And it's just gear. Don't forget, even your damage dealers very well might need survivability. That's why Ragash is great. He's going to be built with defense, right? Somebody like Ragash, I'm not saying he's the guy to use. I'm just saying he's a great example. He's somewhere up here. Ever since these blessings, I can't keep up with these people. No, we want to see his stats. Make sure even on defensive heroes that you give them a decent HP pool. It's important that you can take a hit, right? And you're going to notice a lot of the heroes we were using are going to have survivability built in. Well, here we go. A healthy pool of HP on pretty much everybody here, right? And then if they don't have really high HP, they're going to have decent defense for sure. And then again, it's a balancing act. If they have extra HP, they drop a little on defense. And then, the speeds, we got a little lucky because I didn't test this team or anything, but we were able to get our provoke over the 200 speed of the Head of Decay. We were fast enough to put up block debuffs before the Head of Mischief took a turn at 220 speed. And those are the things that are going to matter, right? So good luck building your teams. Hopefully this gives you some insight into how to build a team. This is just random heroes, just so happen to be almost exclusively free heroes. So I hope it helps you out. Until next time, enjoy the grind.